money because it's a hot topic. So I just want to hear some facts. And if you can provide those for me, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Trustee Grant. First, no, the board did not approve it. And no, the board does not have to approve it. It was not $20,000. I don't know, this is such an embarrassment of a committee, but there's so many things that's spilled out as far as statute and ordinance or whatever. My understanding is if it's not over $20,000, then I have to offer bids.
Thank you.
As Trustee Grant just alluded to, I personally know the air conditioner that was fixed on this roof was $10,000 and it did not get approved by the board and it did not go out for bids. I follow a process. The mayor asked me, like he said, it's his wish list to go get bids. I think I got 4 bids and they range from, I want to say the lowest is like $13,000 up to $18,000. He made a decision which one we're going to go with, and that's who we went with. As the trustee was alluded to, it seemed like it's a particular department that the residents are concerned with. The question with the parking lot is it would not have been done by that particular department because they don't have a grinder. If the grinder is not in-house, you cannot do the parking lot. And that's what came out of the particular person that runs that department. So I'm just amazed how business is conducted. If the mayor is asking, or your boss is asking to get something done, get it done. You don't wait a year, 2 years till you decide to go buy something. This is your guys' money. You complain that the mayor's not fixing potholes. Now you're complaining he's fixing potholes. I'm embarrassed to come here, to be honest with you, because I feel my financial experience is being abused. My talents are being wasted because we're asking questions. I'm sorry? My time, you're right, my time is paid for. Because you're asking questions that's really not getting this thing done. Like trustees have said, if this budget does not get passed, guess what? Nobody gets paid. That's what we should be worried about. Getting a budget passed. Not what vendor is doing the work, if it's done above board and it's done with transparency. Anybody can see the contract. So the FOIA, yes, you want to get your information, whatever that required, but it was done properly, and no, it did not have to get approved by the board. So that's hopefully that answers your question with detail. Sure. So I guess the only question I have, Mr. Mayor, is when are we going to meet next so that we can pass the appropriations?
Everybody was given. I think Mr. Finch gave everybody a sheet with a balanced budget on it. No. If anybody has any questions, I'm sure they could address them to Mr. Finch. You have his email. He's not here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but he does have an email, and you can address it to him separately that you have questions. I'm sure he'll get back with you, and you can copy me on it, him, and then me, so I can make sure that he did get it. And then go from there. As it was stated, August 1st is the appropriations, not the budget. The appropriations have to be passed. The budget has to be passed first, then the appropriations. That allows us to spend money.
So we're not meeting, and we're just gonna vote on it on the next couple board meetings?
If we can call another meeting if it's gonna be productive. I mean, we can call another meeting for just that reason. If it's going to be productive, then we're going to move forward. But if we're going to keep going back and forth, then until we can get something, until the board feels that, okay, this is what we want to do, it's up to the board. If the board wants to do, I mean, the budget that you got, the one that Mr. Finch gave you was a balanced budget. And I think it itemized how things are going to be appropriated. So if you have any questions, please feel free to talk to Mr. Finch, and as I stated before, you can email him. I don't know if he has his number, but you can get it after the night, and you can come up and see him on Thursday and Friday. Is that all?
That's all I have.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, can we respond to that? The budget discussion? Are we allowed to discuss that? Otherwise, I'll make it part of my report. I'd like to ask the attorney a question about the budget.
Ask the attorney? Why?
I'm trying to be respectful of the mayor. I wish the audience would be just as respectful.
Okay, hold on. You want? Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Attorney, there's been a couple statements made that if we don't pass the budget by July 31st, that we will not be able to make any appropriations, any payments. Is that in fact true, or is there a way to circumvent that?
It's true, but there's a way to circumvent it if you pass an ordinance, a stopgap ordinance, similar to what the Illinois State Legislature has done routinely the last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years to be able to pay their bills, make payroll until they pass a budget by the state legislature.
Thank you.
Okay. Sherry Jazinski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Housing Committee will meet tomorrow night in the boardroom at 7 o'clock. That's all I have. Thank you.
Ordinance Review Committee, Trustee Linda Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had scheduled an ordinance review meeting yesterday, but it had to be canceled because there was a lack of quorum, sorry. But I do for the committee on the whole, I have the standing committee ordinance. And normally, you know, we present it on the committee on the whole for the board to review, and we didn't have a committee on the whole in the beginning, so I'm going to do it next week. And I am going to reschedule the ordinance review meeting, but I will announce that next Tuesday. And also, I just wanted to make a comment on the issue with the gentleman that has the signs in his yard. He's at the end of my block. And my suggestion, Mr. Mayor, and I'm glad to hear that the police chief is going to go with you because he's kind of difficult. Very difficult, and it's very disturbing to see. You know, for a while he'd put stuff out there and it's like, okay, but this one was really horrible. It's like he's gone off the edge. So I do not have an issue. I can also go down there with you. I mean, I've talked to this gentleman, but I'm glad you're taking the police chief with you.
I'll be going down tomorrow about 10 o'clock.
Okay. And that ends my comment.
Trustee Debbie Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. July 27th, the Generation Wealth Seminar, learn about wills, trusts, direct beneficiary tools, how to avoid probate court, and more, from 11 to 1. On August 17th, we have the recycling event. That's prescription drugs, paper, and electronics, which includes 1 TB from 9 to noon. On 8/17, we have a robotics workshop. 20 children ages 9 to 13 are invited to participate. The workshop will take place from 1 to 4. There are flyers distributed. There will be more flyers distributed as time gets closer. There's absolutely no charge for any of these events, and we hope to see you all there. And also, Ms. Johnson left, but I'd like to thank her for taking the time and being willing to put her name and her face with her complaint, because she speaks for all of us, and she spoke very eloquently. And I agree that the mayor needs not only the police, but he needs the board to back him up on what he's about to do. And providing I'm available at 10 o'clock tomorrow, I'd like to also be with you, and I'd like to be a part of the person to sign that complaint. So the police chief has left, so I will talk to him about that tomorrow. And as far as Mr. Gooch, I think you're back there. I think I see you. I want to thank you very much for all of your help, you and Radana. But unfortunately, the Sauk Village, Illinois page, Steve LaRock, and everybody else who writes that page, they lie pretty bad. And they don't care what they say or who they lie about. To lie about a pastor of Sauk Village is absolutely ridiculous. My pastor has never applied for the position, has never been offered the position, but apparently he's gotten Mr. Gooch very upset because it's been stated that he's been either offered the position or applied for it. Mr. Gooch, he has done neither, and I would highly suggest and recommend that you hand in an application tomorrow and be considered for that position, because with anybody that has the heart and the desire to help children the way you do, you deserve the position, so I think you should apply for it. And please understand, Sauk Village, Illinois page is a liar. Okay, so I think what we should do as far as the budget is to get a stopgap ordinance on the agenda next week if the attorneys could prepare one. And I think that we should definitely, all as a board, look over the budget because we never got back together as a board to discuss the budget. And we have a lot of things that we don't agree on. So I think that we do need to come back as a board. And as far as the dog issue, Ms. Couch, that dog should be taken care of immediately. So there's a lot of issues that we have that could probably be taken care of if we stop fighting and we start working. So we need to work and we need to take the politics and the personalities out of the equation. And I think one of the best ways we can do that is by hiring a village administrator so he can be the one to determine. Excuse me, sir, I'm giving my report. I'm not going back and forth with the audience. I think the best way we can, I'm giving my report. That's in my report. That's in my report. And I'm being interrupted and disrespected. And I've done everything I can to respect everyone. So, in my opinion, as a trustee, it would take the personalities and politics out of the equation if the board members are not the one that are presenting issues to the community, but a person that has absolutely no ties to the community other than his job to give people advice and the issues and bring them to the forefront with a purely just non-biased view. That's all I'm saying. That will end my report. Thank you very much.
Senior Advisory Council Chairman, Mr. Emmett Farmer.
Mayor, trustees, our next meeting for the Senior Advisory Council is this Thursday, July 11, 2019 at 5 p.m. and all are welcome. Also, game night is for the seniors every first and third Friday in the Senior Center. Please come out one of these Fridays, invite your seniors for Midwest and other games. Also, there's a Medicare awareness meeting on Tuesday, July 23rd, 2019 from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. in the Senior Center. We will be specializing in Medicare plans for seniors that have diabetes and or heart disease and seniors that need low-income subsidies to help them on their prescription drugs. Also, there's an assessment program, FECOM, ED, and some more companies on July 19th, 2019 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and that's in the Senior Center. For more information, please contact Trustee Bernice Brewer on
That's
that.
been canceled until the 1st of August.
Oh.
It's been changed.
Okay, well, thank you. Canceled, and I guess I'll get 1st of August.
Yeah, I'll give you a date. They're waiting on funding.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get back to that. Thank you. All right. Thank you all. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Unfinished business, I'll accept the motion to approve an amendment to Ordinance 18-020, providing for the issuance of general obligation bonds, alternative revenue source, Series 2018A. Principal amount not to exceed $2.5 million for the purpose of financing the cost of certain capital projects within the village, funding certain bond issuance costs and providing certain amounts of capitalized interest on the bonds. The amendment concerns Article 17, tax levy related to changing, and this is something that we had to reissue because it changed from $400,000 to $500,000. Everyone got a copy of that, I'm sure. I'll accept the motion.
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by Trustee Williams, second by Trustee Bell. Any questions?
Comment. Mr. Mayor, this particular ordinance was rewritten, as you said, and I just wanted to put it on record that this particular, even though we are in favor of it, it was never brought before the attorneys before, and only the attorneys got to review this in the last 2 or 3 weeks or so. So where it's been before, it was never brought before the board before with a review with an attorney.
That's not true, Trustee. I can show you attorneys got paid $15,000 for this particular ordinance. And
Well, I talked to,
it was brought before the attorneys. I don't know why you
for
said
the last 2 or 3 weeks, this is a rewrite of what we had before, and it was reviewed by the attorney in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
It was a review. This is
And
just.
that's what I want to put on the,
Okay.
as a comment.
Okay. You couldn't have done this without the attorney getting involved in it. Yeah,
It was done before without, attorney.
Just
What was done before without the attorney, trustee?
The ordinance.
No, we just gonna, it was the motion on the
It
floor,
was.
a second.
Do you know the ordinance number?
You have a, question, you had a question?
18-20 was not reviewed by the attorney. It just got reviewed the last 2 or 3 weeks.
No, trustee, that's not the case. In fact, the attorneys are included on every email throughout this entire process. They give their feedback. They let us know whether or not they represent the village on these general
I
obligations.
understand that.
And he's included. In fact, it's Attorney McGrath.
McGrath?
He's included on every email that the village receives regarding these funds.
Mr. McGrath, can you just give us some clarity on
There's
this?
a motion on the floor. There's a motion on the floor.
We're not, as I stated before, gonna go around the table and start asking questions like that. This is a motion on the floor. If you had a question about that, you've had this for at least a few days, you could have made that phone call. Some people do call the lawyers, even though I've asked them not to, because it costs money, but it has happened. So yes, we could not pass, we will not put an ordinance together unless the lawyers already know about it. You have a question?
No, I said it's a motion on the floor. Can we take the vote?
Okay, I have a.
Can we take
you
the
have a
vote?
question? Okay.
I have a question because I want to ask the attorney to clarify.
Can we take the vote?
I'm waiting on Madam Clerk to call the roll. Oh, I'm sorry. Ma'am, please call the roll.
Trustee Grant.
Yes.
Trustee Jazinski.
Yes.
Trustee Todd.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Bell.
Yes.
Trustee Brewer.
Yes.
Motion carried. I'll accept the motion to approve payroll accounts payable and disbursements in the amount of $270,971.66. Ask for a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second? If y'all don't want to pay bills. Motion's lost for lack of second. Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Next item.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to table invoices for Alicia Straughter Consultant in the amount of $510. I just made a motion. I said I'd like to make a motion.
There's nothing on the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion. Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, can I,
Motion's lost.
Attorney?
You cannot make a motion without on the agenda.
The motion that was made by Trustee Grant failed because there wasn't a second.
Yes. That's what I said.
So you don't pay bills.
And then there was a motion to pull or not pay Ms. Strotter.
We need clarification. At one point, we tried this, and we were told that we have to wait till the motion fails before we can present another motion. Mr. Attorney, would you provide clarification at this time? Because obviously, we want to pay our bills. So could you please, so that you can educate this board on how we make a proper motion when we don't want payables to go through in its entirety? Could you please educate us?
You're under paragraph 11, new business, A, motion to approve payroll, accounts payable, and disbursements. So it's a motion pertaining to your accounts payable. If you want to make it broken down into separate motions to achieve that, you can do that. For example, you can make a motion to approve paying disbursements. And then if there's a second, then you would move forward with those disbursements. If you want to make a motion that pertains just to payroll, you can make a motion just to payroll, and then you would go to accounts payable. You could break it down.
But my question, Mr. Attorney, was this. If we have an accounts payable in its entirety, and it appears that Trustee Brewer is trying to remove one item, the last time we were told that we have to wait for the motion to totally fail, that the mayor has to call the motion failed, and then that we can present a motion amended in how we want to prepare the accounts payable. My question is, Trustee Brewer is trying to pull one item, and I think we all should get educated and clarified. She's trying to pull one item from this accounts payable. So how is she supposed to do that? Are we supposed to wait for the mayor to say his motion failed and represent that we have an amended motion we'd like to make?
The motion fails because there wasn't a second. There's nothing to amend. There could be a subsequent or follow-up motion. That motion can be in line of a motion to approve accounts payable with the exception of whatever somebody wants to pull off of the accounts payable.
Which is exactly what Trustee Brewer just did, correct? No. She's trying to make an amendment, she's trying to make a motion.
No.
I thought the attorney was addressing it.
What you should have did was...
We're trying to get clarification.
We're not talking to the audience.
Well, then, could you please get your audience to be quiet?
Don't tell me to get
I'm
my
sorry,
audience.
Madam Clerk.
That's not my audience.
Could you
That's
please-
your audience. These are your taxpayers.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
No,
I'm
it
trying
is.
to get
It is
clarification.
ridiculous. So don't sit up and say my audience. Don't sit up and say
This
my
is
audience.
what should have occurred.
Yes.
She should have then said, I would like to amend the motion by asking that accounts payable.
You can't amend a motion that's failed because by.
Well, then you bring another motion for approval of accounts payable with whatever she wants taken off. You didn't say that. You just asked to
Okay, hold on.
move stuff off.
Okay. First of all, the motion, as I stated before, I said it failed. I don't know why someone feels that I don't know what I'm saying. I said it failed. After that point, there was not another motion. And then Trustee Brewer said, I'd like to make a motion to not pay Dr. Straughter's, what do you call it, invoice. I didn't know, I don't know which invoice she's referring to, but that's what she said. That was it.
So to be clear for the minutes and moving forward, the best way to present that motion would be, make a motion to pay accounts payable with the exception of whatever items you don't want to have paid. And you have to list them out, identify them, so the rest of the board knows what you're pulling off of the accounts payable. And then if there's a second, then it goes to a vote. If there's no second, that motion fails. Then it would be up to somebody else possibly to make a motion to pay something.
So what is the motion that you're making, Trustee Brewer?
Can I state it and then you can let me know if it's wrong?
What?
2 years.
What I think you want to do is, if you want to make a motion to pay accounts payable, then it's fine, but list out whatever, if there's anything that you don't want to have paid or included in accounts payable. You have to list that out. You have to identify the item, possibly the line number, and the amount.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve accounts payable with the exception is
Spit it out.
the exception to Dr. Straughter's invoice for $510 because that is not a final payment. The invoice that we got indicates it's a final payment.
You don't have to include the extra verbiage in your motion.
Okay.
That would be for comment if there's going to be any discussion or comment. It's a simple, straightforward motion, a motion to approve accounts payable with the exception of the payment to Dr. Straughter in the amount that you stated.
Is there a second?
Second.
It was moved by Trustee Brewer and second by Trustee Bell to pay accounts payable with the exception of invoice number 1057 in the amount of $510. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have a question. I'm sorry.
So what is the purpose of removing the invoice again?
The invoice was stated as it was our final.
Trustee Brewer.
Because it's not a final invoice.
What do you mean not a final invoice? What does that mean?
It doesn't mean it's not a final invoice, that's what it means.
So you mean, okay, so on her invoice, she said, this is the final invoice, and we want to take that off.
Yes.
Why, well, you don't want to pay that because she said this is not a final invoice.
Right.
Why does that matter? Like, we understand if it's not a final invoice and she knows that, just why not have her correct it going forward, but why have it removed and not pay it if it's a valid invoice, it just has the wrong verbiage? What difference does it make?
Mr. Grant, then, Trustee Grant, then you have to decide on why you don't, but I don't want it on there because it has a final, it has final on there because then if she comes back and wants additional funds and stuff, we have final, and it's not an actual final invoice. It has to be clear what the invoice is for.
So, okay, I'm trying to understand this. So you're saying you want to pull this out because it has that on there. If she changed it, are you, what are you going to do? Are you just not going to pay this at all? That's what I'm trying to find out.
I said what I said.
What does that mean?
It means I'm asking to be put.
No, I'm asking you a question. You made a motion, and it was second.
And it was second, and then can you call the roll? Can you call the roll?
No, I'm not calling the roll until I find out, clarify what it is that you're looking for. If it says final, so are you looking to have the invoice changed to not say final? And then you because the person needs to know what it is that you're not paying them and why you're not paying them. So I'm asking you, is that if the person changes the invoice to say whatever it is.
Call the question.
So nobody else has discussion? Okay.
I'm asking you a question, so you're not going. There's no.
I said it. You got a first and a second on the motion and a second.
Any other questions?
I do have a question, but somebody has to call the roll. Mr. Attorney, am I allowed to state my question?
Somebody called for the roll.
Somebody called for the roll, so I cannot state my comment.
Proper procedure, call the roll.
So let me ask you this then, Mr. Attorney. We just got to, they just got to not agreeing to pay a person because of what was on their invoice. So my question to you is, what constitutes to pay that? How does that person get paid? How does that invoice get paid? All I was asking, what is it that they want to have on that invoice? So since everybody's asking the question, I'm asking that question. What is it? So when we find tomorrow, when this person does get paid, they need to know why and what they need to do in order to get paid. That's all I'm asking. That's the only question I'm asking. That's why I asked that question.
And I understand, Mayor, there's been a question to call the roll, which procedurally should be taken. I don't know if anyone in this room knows how the vote's going to go. If the motion might be approved, it might go down. If it's approved and that line item is it's not included in the motion, somebody can then make a motion to approve that separate payment. And if there's a second, then there could be discussion on what needs to be done or corrected. Otherwise, it would have to be addressed at the next meeting, put back on the warrants.
So at this
Madam
point,
Clerk,
we
please
can't
call the
even
roll.
Trustee Jazinski?
Yes.
Trustee Todd?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Could you restate the motion?
The motion is to pay account payroll with the exception of Dr. Strada's of $510.
Not being able to comment this is disconcerting to me, so I'm going to have to say yes.
Trustee Bell?
Yes.
Trustee Brewer?
Yes.
Trustee Grant?
No.
Motion's carried. Oh boy. I forgot to in my report, I forgot to mention because there's so many things that we're going through, that everybody here got their tax statement. And those that get their tax statement, and you saw a decrease on your tax statement. So that can be a double-edged sword. Just want to let you know it is a decrease because we did pay this building off. This building is paid for. We paid the bond for this building. So that's why your taxes went down. But also it makes it a little harder for us to finalize a lot of things because we're going to get less money. That's just a comment. That was it. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
For
For the purpose of personnel. Oh, review of minutes.
And pending litigation.
Mr. Mayor, could you read the entire statement in its entirety, please?
I didn't see what happened. No one told me that we were going into executive session, but
We already have a.
it's the discussion. It's discussion of personnel matters and update of pending litigation. Collective bargaining matters, review executive board minutes, real estate, employment, and compensation.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Todd, second by trustee Brewer. Any questions? Madam Clerk?
Trustee Todd?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Bell?
Yes.
Trustee Brewer?
Yes.
Trustee Green?
Yes.
Trustee Richardson?
Motion carried.